All right, let's jump right into it. We are going on a journey to explore the climate of Pakistan, a place that is just full of incredible contrasts. I mean, you've got these massive, snow-capped mountains right next to some of the hottest deserts you can imagine. It's a place where life is truly shaped by some of the most powerful weather systems on Earth.
You know that old saying, right? It's the perfect way to kick things off. It just perfectly nails the difference between those long-term patterns that we kind of build our lives around and the day-to-day stuff that has you grabbing an umbrella when you thought it'd be sunny. And honestly, to really get a grip on Pakistan's environment, we have to get this difference straight from the get-go.
Okay, so let's break it down officially. Climate is kind of like the personality of a region. It's the long-term vibe. It's why you expect it to be cold in the mountains in January. Weather, that's more like the mood of the day. Is it pouring rain right now? That's the weather. So now that we've got that sorted, let's get to the fun part, what actually makes the climate in Pakistan tick.
So where does all the rain even come from? Well, for Pakistan, it's pretty incredible. There are basically two main characters in this story. Two giant weather systems that act like the architects of the seasons, hauling life-giving water over massive distances.
And here are our two main players. On one side, you've got the famous summer monsoon, coming all the way from the Bay of Bengal. And on the other, these things called Western Depressions, which make this unbelievable trek all the way from the Mediterranean Sea. I mean, that's wild. Totally different starting points, and you can bet they have totally different effects.
All right, first up, the summer monsoon. This thing is the heavyweight champion, no doubt. Picture this, from July to September, the land gets superheated, creating this huge low-pressure zone that literally sucks in all this moist air from the ocean. But here's the catch. As these winds travel over India, they're dropping rain the whole way. So by the time they get to Pakistan, they're kind of running on fumes. Pakistan gets the tail end of the monsoon, which means the rainfall can be super unpredictable, but man, is it crucial.
Then comes winter, and the whole script just flips. Now we're talking about the Western Depressions. These are basically cyclones born over the Mediterranean that cruise eastward. And just like the monsoon, they lose a lot of their punch along the way. But what they do bring is absolutely vital. We're talking rain for the lower areas, but more importantly, snow. Piles and piles of it in the high mountains. And that snowpack, it's like a giant natural water tower slowly melting in the spring and feeding the rivers that everyone depends on.
Now, it's not just about these two big guys. You also get more local stuff, like what's called convectional rainfall. You know those pop-up afternoon thunderstorms you get on a really hot day? That's pretty much it. The sun just bakes the ground, moisturizes, and boom, you get a quick downpour. It helps fill in the gaps, you know?
Okay, so this is where it gets really cool. You take these two giant rainmakers and you smash them up against Pakistan's geography, which is just wild. I mean, you've got some of the tallest mountains on Earth right next to these massive flat plains. And that collision, that interaction is what carves the country into four totally different climate zones.
So, this map here, this is going to be our travel guide. See all that blue and green up top? That's the highland zone. The huge yellow chunk in the middle is the lowland zone. The orange bits are the arid or desert zones. And that little red sliver down at the bottom, that's the coast. So let's start our trip way up in the mountains.
All right, here we are. We're starting our journey in those green and blue spots from the map, way up in the massive northern and western mountains. Think Karakoram, think Hindu Kush. Welcome to the Highland Zone.
So one of the biggest things you need to know about this zone is something called relief rainfall. It's actually pretty simple. When wet air bumps into a mountain, it's got nowhere to go but up. And as it goes up, it gets colder, and it can't hold all that moisture anymore. So it just dumps it as rain or snow. It's the whole reason these mountains get so much more water than anywhere else around them.
So what's it like to live here? Well, it's all about extremes. We're talking long, seriously cold winters, well below freezing, and then these short, kind of mild summers. So everything people do is adapted to that. They raise tough livestock that can handle the cold. They farm on these incredible terraced fields carved into the mountainsides, and they're masters at preserving food to get through those long winters.
Okay, let's head down from the mountains now and move south, right into the country's heartland. This huge, flat area is the Indus Plain, and it's our next stop, the lowland zone.
This place is the absolute powerhouse of Pakistan. It's the agricultural engine, it's where most people live. The climate? Think long, blazing hot summers. We're talking temperatures easily clearing 40 degrees Celsius. But that heat, combined with the monsoon rains and all that water coming down from the mountains we just left, makes it a perfect place for massive-scale farming.
And now for another complete 180. We're leaving behind those green, fertile plains and heading straight into the deserts. The Thau, the Karan, the Tharparkar. This is the arid zone.
Out here, it's all about two things: brutal heat and almost no water. Summers are just scorching, with temperatures pushing past 50 Celsius. It barely ever rains, and any water that does fall pretty much evaporates instantly. Life here is honestly an incredible feat of human adaptation. It's mostly nomadic folks, constantly moving with their animals, always searching for that next little patch of resources. Okay, let's leave that baked desert landscape behind us. Our final stop on this tour takes us all the way to the south, to that long, thin strip of land right on the Arabian Sea. We've arrived at the coastal zone.
Down here, the ocean runs the show. You get these sea breezes that act like natural air conditioning, so the temperatures aren't nearly as crazy as they are inland. Now, don't get me wrong, summers are still hot and super humid, but even with pretty low rainfall, this unique climate supports a whole different lifestyle, built around fishing and farming things that love the coastal air. So, we've done our tour of the 4 zones. But, knowing the climate isn't just about knowing the averages. The real story is what happens when things go wrong, when these massive weather systems swing from one extreme to the other. It's about how people cope with the consequences.
And that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? What happens when what you expect from the climate isn't what you get? What's the impact on the ground when a monsoon is way too powerful? Or worse, when it just doesn't come at all?
And it's truly a tale of two extremes, two sides of the very same coin. On one side, you get a super heavy monsoon plus a fast snowmelt from the mountains, and bam, you've got catastrophic floods sweeping through the plains, wiping out everything. But on the flip side, if that monsoon is weak or fails completely, you get crippling droughts. Crops die, water disappears, and the desert and southern regions get hit the hardest. It is a never-ending fight between having way too much water or nowhere near enough.
So as we bring this all together, it's clear what the main theme is, right? It's all about contrast. Powerful, dramatic contrast.
When you really think about it, the very soul of Pakistan is shaped by its climate. How people live their lives, what they eat, the struggles they face every day, it all comes back to this amazing and sometimes brutal environmental diversity. From the ice of the high peaks to the humidity of the coast, it's all connected.
And that really leaves us with one last huge question to think about. We live in a world where climate is getting weirder and more unstable everywhere. So, what does that mean for a country that's already a land of such incredible extremes? How do you adapt when the unpredictable becomes the new normal?